So, ano ang pinakamabilis naman? Yung 1 to 2 seconds. Within 1 to 2 seconds, may resulta na. Ano pinakamabilis na route? Sa tympanic. Okay? Tympanic route. Okay? So, fastest route. Within 1 to 2 seconds. Okay? So, tatandaan nyo naman to, types of thermometer naman tayo. Yung mayroon tayong oral, rectal, no? Ayan. So, pag sa oral, long slender bulb for oral use only. Okay? So, rectal short, stubby, round bulb with red tip. Okay? For rectal use only rin syempre to. Now, reading a glass thermometer tayo. O, ayan na naman ako sa reading glass thermometer. Baka lang kasi, tatandaan nyo lahat ng pagme-measure, pagbabasa, no, kailangan lahat eye level. Okay, eye level. So you have to rotate slowly until the mercury can be seen against the background strip. And then, be sure you shake down the thermometer before use. Bakit na obsolete na tong glass thermometer? Because it has what? Anong component niya? Glass, ano pa? Meron siyang mercury. So mercury is toxic sa katawan ng tao, kaya yan naging obsolete, no? Okay, so ano naman ang contraindication sa mga rectal temperatures? So you cannot take rectal temperatures, no, from patients who had rectal surgery, may inflamed hemorrhoids, bleeding of the rectum, diarrhea, and cardiac patient. Sa oral naman, hindi ka pwedeng mag-oral, okay? Oral temperature sa mga patient under the age of 5, mouth breather or have nasal congestion, may nasogastric tube, who's on oxygen, and then face, neck injuries or surgery, and then confused or unconscious. Yung patients on oxygen, lumabas yan sa board exam. Sino daw yung mga hindi mo pwedeng kunan ng oral temperature? Hindi ka daw pwedeng mag-assess ng oral temperature. Si patients on oxygen, isa sa best answer. Alright, so yan ang temperatura. So punta na tayo sa pulse rate. Okay? Sa pulse rate, ang ating rating, kinukuha natin heart rate per minute or beats per minute, no? So mostly, ang heart rate ng adult kinukuha sa radial artery. Ano katabi ng radial? Ano katabing artery ng radial? Ulnar. Very good. Very good. Lumalabas din yan sa board exam. Okay? So, kapag naman ang heart rate ay irregular, kukunin mo siya apically. So, apically is at the apex of the heart in the chest. Okay? So, syempre, gagamit ka ng stethoscope. Now, apically or apical pulse is the only one na hindi pinapalpate. Ino-auscultate siya. Okay? And then, ang pagkuha ng pulse rate or pag-assess ng pulse rate ay laging 1 full minute. 1 full minute, hindi po 30 times 2, 'di ba? Hindi po ganon. Hindi po 45 seconds, hindi po 59 seconds, kundi 1 full minute or 60 seconds. Sa normal adult pulse, ang kanyang normal adult pulse ay 60 to 100. So what about sa infant naman? Sa infant naman, ilan ang normal infant or newborn pulse? 120 to 160. Okay? 120 to 160. Now, slow pulse rate, less than 60 beats per minute is bradycardia. Okay? And then it must be reported immediately. So pag naman rapid, mabilis, tatakbo, yan. Tachycardia naman. Okay? So, mga anak, may nalilito pa ba sa brady at saka sa tachy? Huwag kayong mahihiya, i-message nyo lang ako. Kung nalilito pa kayo, ano ba yung brady, ano ba yung tachy, bakit may cardia, bakit may nya. Okay? So pag sinabing heart rate, cardia yan, no? Cardia is a Latin word for heart. Okay? Tatandaan natin ha. Tatandaan. Okay. So pag sinabi nating brady, brady, babagal, babagal, bababa. Okay? Ayan. Ma'am, pag 59, consider as brady na nga po ba yun? Yes po. We are taking our exams by paper. We are taking our exams by paper. Anything that is less than 60 beats per minute is considered as bradycardia. Anything that is more than 100 beats per minute is considered as tachycardia. Okay, ganun po yun ha. Ganun din sa newborn. Kapag 119, brady na yon. Sa papel ha, kapag 121, tachycardia na yon. Ma'am, nagtatrabaho po ako sa ospital. Sabi ng doktor, 121, okay lang daw po yon. Mga anak, again, we are taking the board exam by paper. Okay? And theoretically, no, universally, ang definition ng bradycardia is ang definition ng tachycardia is rapid heart rate over 100 beats per minute or sa infant naman 120 beats per minute. Okay, ayan. Any other questions? Any other questions bago tayo lumipat ng slide? Okay, ayan. So, wag mahihiya, magtanong agad sa akin sa Facebook ko, sa page ko, dito sa Zoom, kahit saan man, kila sir, no? Kila ma'am, okay? So, pupunta na tayo sa pulse points. So, these are the pulse points where site's pulse can be felt. So, una sa temporal, located on temples, carotid, si carotid used on children and adults for CPR. Emergency to, emergency site or emergency pulse site or assessment of pulse site during emergencies nga. Di po ba? Located on either side of the trachea. So, si apical naman, located at the apex of the heart, left side of the chest, just below the nipple line. So, apical is used only, this is the only one palpated but listened using the stethoscope, okay? Not palpated, pero na-o-auscultate natin, no? Always taken for 1 full minute, of course. And always used for irregular pulses. Tsaka, yung may mga nagtitake ng cardiac medications, no? Ayan. So, punta tayo dito sa ating pulse site. So, meron tayong radial, temporal, carotid, apical, brachial, femoral, popliteal, posterior tibial, and dorsalis pedis. Okay? So, screenshot natin. Padala ko na lang dito, ha? O, save nyo yan. Araling mabuti. Lumalabas talaga sa board exam, no? Tatandaan, 1 full minute, ha? So, ito para lang matandaan natin. Para lang matandaan po natin ang ating mga pulso. Kasi maganda, no? Pag nabivisualize, binabasa, nabivisualize, kapag dating sa board exam, mas matatandaan. No? Mas matatandaan. Now, meron tayong tinatawag na pulse deficit. So, pulse deficit is the difference between the apical and radial pulse. Lumalabas din to. Si apical and radial pulse assessment. So, kailangan mo dito ng dalawang healthcare provider. One to check the apical pulse and the other to check the pulse, the radial pulse. So, 1 full minute din ito and then the rate of the radial pulse is subtracted from the apical pulse. So, yung difference, yung sagot na makukuha mo ay pulse deficit. Okay? So, ang radial should never be more than the apical pulse. No, halimbawa, ang nakuha mo ay, ayan, 84 sa apical, 68 sa radial. So, that's normal. Pero, kapag ang nakuha mo ay mas mataas si radial kaysa kay apical, reportable yon. Okay? Reportable yon. So, tapos na tayo dyan sa pulso. What is the normal range for adult respiration? Normal range for adult respiration? What is the normal range for our adult respiration? Hala, tulog na ba ang mga aking estudyante? Adult, mga anak. Adult. Bakit 30 to 60? Sino-sino yung mga yan? Makurot sa singit nga itong mga to. Sabi ko, adult respiration. Adult. O, nagmamadaling magsagot. Adult respiration is 12 to 20 po. 12 to 20. Okay, pag infant naman, sa infant, ayan, para alam na alam niyo yung sagot. Ang infant, anong infant naman? Respiration, normal respiration ng infant. is ayun, 30 to 60, very good. Okay. So, you must document the symmetry on the chest on inspiration, depth, rhythm, and any abnormal sounds heard. So, sa infant mga anak, dapat ba synchronous or asynchronous? Ang respiration ng bata, ng infant, ang respiration ng newborn, dapat ba synchronous or asynchronous? Anak, mga anak, normal respiration ng bata, asynchronous or synchronous? Asynchronous? 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 Pag asynchronous, ano yan? Kunin ko lang yung aking illustration dito. Asynchronous or synchronous? Final answer? Normal yan sa bata? Asynchronous or synchronous? Normal yan? Teka, naghahanap lang ako ng magandang ano. Normal? Asynchronous or synchronous? Okay, lagay ko lang ha. Wait lang po ha. Ayan. Naku, sana mabilis. Okay, yes. Ang bata, irregular breather. Irregular breather, abdominal breather sila, no? Nose obligatory breather, no? But, they should have synchronized breathing. They should have synchronized breathing because asynchronized breathing, okay, pag sinabing asynchronized, parang nagsisiso, that is sign of what? Sign of what? Sige, tingnan nyo yung ating illustration. Very good, Wenny. RDS, Respiratory Distress Syndrome. Okay? So, pag sinabi nating synchronized, sabay yung pag-rise and fall ng chest and abdomen, mga anak. Okay? Yun po yung meaning ng synchronous. Pero pag sinabi nating ang mga pasyenteng bata or newborn ay irregular breather, that is true because they have irregular breathing. Bakit naging irregular ang breathing nila? Kasi they have periods of apnea. Ilan ang segundo? Ilang segundo? Ilang segundo po? 5 to 15 seconds, 'di ba? Kaya 'yon ang nakakapagpatunay na irregular breather sila or may irregular breathing sila. But it should be synchronized po. Yung rise and fall po ay synchronized. Dapat ha, tatandaan niyo po yun ha. Kapag asynchronized, siso po yun. So that is sign of respiratory distress syndrome. Okay? Malinaw na po? Malinaw na po? Okay? Malinaw na? Gets na. Okay, gets na ha. Ulit-ulitin nyo lang yan. Okay, ayan. So sabi nyo kanina, 12 to 20 ang regular respiration rate ng adult. So ang slow respiration, babagal. 'Di ba? Ano ba yung babagal? Bababa, brady. Okay, brady. Ngayon, hindi na cardia pinag-uusapan natin, hindi na puso, kundi paghinga. Respiration. Kaya, pya. 'Di ba? Bradypnea. Okay? So, pag naman, mabilis, fast, rapid, tatakbo ng mabilis, takip niya. Okay? So, ito naman ay over 20 breaths per minute. Ilang minuto kong i-assess ang adult respiration? How many minutes will I assess an adult respiration? How many minutes? Yun, 1 full minute. 1 full minute. Ano yung gagawing, ano yung isang vital sign na pwede kong isabay while assessing the respiration? The pulse rate, very good. The pulse rate. Okay. Sa adult, ano ang titingnan ko? The rise of the chest or the fall of the chest while breathing? The, alam? Nag-a-assess ako ngayon. Sabi nyo, pwede kong isabay sa pulse rate. Tapos na yung pulse rate, hindi ko muna bibitawan ang kanyang radial artery. Magkukunyari lang ako na binibilang ko kasi i-check ko ang respiration rate. Now, upon checking respiration rate, ang i-check ko ay ang rise ng chest or fall of the chest. Saan ako magbibilang ng una? 1, 2, saan? Saan po ako mag-uuna sa respiration? So, titingnan natin ang rise and fall ng ating chest, di ba? Alright. Okay. Ay, lumipat ng aking slide So, pag kinount ko ang inhalation and exhalation, is it considered 2 breaths per minute or 1 breath per minute? Inspiration and expiration, 1 inspiration, 1 exhalation. Is it considered 1 breath per minute or 2 breaths per minute? Very good, 1 breath per minute. Tinatanong yan sa board exam. Okay? Paano naman yung sa pulso? Paano naman yung sa, sa pag inoscultate mo, yung tunog ng puso? Noong 2019 nga pala, lumabas yung, labdab, labdab. Okay? Baka lang lumabas, no? Labdab. Okay? Ganon. Ang tunog ng ating puso ay labdab, labdab, no? Balik tayo sa pulso natin. Labdab, labdab. So, one dab is considered 1 beat per minute or 2 beats per minute? Considered as 1 na ba yon na count or 2? 1 lab, 1 dab. Ano yon? Labdab. 1. Okay, 1 lang. Okay? Ayan. So, as the respiration, inhale, exhale. Okay? 1 lang yon. So, meron tayong mga abnormal sounds. Okay? Yung mga abnormal sounds to, yung mga common term na lumalabas sa board exam. Yung RALs ay wet sounds. Rhonchi is nosy, harsh lung sounds. Ang stridor naman ay harsh shrill sound heard during inspiration. It's like crowing on inspiration. So usually, this is seen by patients who have pneumonia. And then wheezing naman are nagsasuggest naman ito ng asthma or any laryngeal obstruction. So high-pitched whistling sound with shortness of breath heard during expiration. Okay? So we have types of breathing. When we say eupnea, it's normal breathing. Pag dyspnea, difficulty of breathing. Or topnea, difficulty breathing while lying down flat. So lying down flat, so it is affected by positioning. Okay? Kapag naman sinabing apnea, when we say absence. Okay? Absence, absent. So it's a cessation of breathing, no breathing, nag-stop ang breathing, ayun. Okay? Apnea. So stertorous naman is noisy breathing that sounds like snoring. Chain strokes breathing is periods of deep breaths followed by very short or no breaths and repeat in cycles. And then cosmal breathing is heavy labored breathing with a fruity odor. So that's it. Tapos na tayo sa PR at sa RR. Punta na tayo sa blood pressure. So blood pressure or arterial blood pressure is pressure exerted on the walls of arteries when blood is pumped out of the heart. So the top number is the systolic and the denominator or the bottom number is the diastolic. Okay? So kapag nakakuha kayo ng value ng systolic and diastolic, tapos ipinag-less ninyo, pinag-minus ninyo, ang answer, ang tawag ay pulse pressure. Pulse pressure. Ang normal value ng pulse pressure ay 40. No, some books will say 30 to 40 millimeter of mercury. Yung pinaka-standard, 40 millimeter of mercury. Okay? So, yung systolic phase ay heart at work. Tandaan niyang systolic phase ha, pressure in the arteries when the heart is contracting and it's heart at work. Pag diastolic naman, pressure in the arteries when the heart is between contractions, so heart at rest. O, ilang taon ulit tayo magsisimula mag-take ng blood pressure? Ilang taon? Ilang taon? Ilang taon? Very good. 3 years old. At 3 years old, you can now start routine BP taking. Now, meron tayo na may nagtanong sa akin, Ma'am, ano pala yung Korotkov sounds, no? Korotkov sounds is the sound of blood pressure. So, pag nag-o-auscultate tayo, yun yung tunog na naririnig natin. Naririnig from the, ano ba ino-auscultate natin? So, from where? From where natin naririnig yan? From the, saan tayo nag-auscultate kapag tayo nagba-blood pressure, mga anak? Saan po? Anong pulse site? Pag tayo nagba-blood pressure sa brachial artery. Okay, brachial artery, very good. So, meron tayong principles related to blood pressure. Okay, standard na po, no, na kapag pagod ang pasyente, kapag kakakain lang ng pasyente, kapag nanigarilyo ang pasyente, they should rest for 15 minutes prior to taking the reading, okay? O prior to assessing the vital signs. So you must document the position of the patient kung sitting or lying. Never take BP standing unless ordered by the doctor. Use the correct size cuff, okay? Kapag mataba, bariatric size, no? 'Di ba? Pag mabata, pediatric size. And then use the brachial artery. So punta tayo sa ating Korotkov sound. Okay, Korotkov sound. So, meron tayong 5 phases, no? Sabi nga kahapon, nang magagaling kayo eh. Alam nyo na yung mga Korotkov sounds. So, yung phase 1, systolic blood pressure. Phase 4, diastolic ng newborn. And then phase 5, yun yung diastolic blood pressure ng adult. Okay? So, tatandaan nyo sa mga phases na ito, tatandaan nyo yung karakteristik ng tunog. Kasi tunog yung pinapakinggan natin eh. Okay? So, pag phase 1, faint, clear tapping sound. Okay, tatandaan yan ha. Kapag phase 2, murmuring or whooshing sound. Okay, kapag naman phase 3, crisper and louder. Pagdating sa phase 4, muffled and softer sound na. And then phase 5, silence. Okay, silence. Yun po yung tatandaan natin ha. So, how will we take BP po? So, find brachial pulse, apply the cuff, close valve, and pump up cuff until brachial pulse can no longer be felt or to 170 millimeter of mercury. And then, position stethoscope over the brachial artery and then listen for the Korotkov sound. So, some don'ts when taking the blood pressure. Ito, commonly, tinatanong sa board exam. Paano tinatanong? Nagbibigay ng situation. So, sabi, you should not take blood pressure on an arm with IV in place, on an arm with cast on, and on side with mastectomy or breast surgery. Or di kaya naman, inamputate. Okay? Halimbawa, na-amputate na yung left arm. Na-amputate na yung left arm. So, syempre, wala ka ng ano doon. Wala ka ng makukuhanan doon. Ano, wag mo nang ipagpipilitan. Dito ka na sa right, no? Eh, paano naman kapag may IV in place sa right arm? Saan ka naman, ano, sa right hand? Sa limbawa, may IV doon. Saan naman tayo magkukuha ng blood pressure? Very simple lang, no? Sagutin natin. Right hand, merong IB. Saan ka Yun, left. Okay? Tinatanong niya sa board exam. Lalong-lalo na yung nag-undergo ng mastectomy. By experience, yan ang tinanong sa amin noong 2019. Very easy kasi tinuro na sa atin yan 'di ba? During our clinical rounds, 'di ba? Bawal tayong take ng blood pressure doon sa site na may surgery, may IV in place, and then cast on. Okay? So, syempre, irregular ang circulation doon. So, pupunta na tayo doon sa sign of distress kapag sa blood pressure. Kung meron tayong brady and tachy sa pulse rate and respiration rate, dito naman sa blood pressure, pag bumaba ang blood pressure mo, anong tawag? Low blood pressure, what is that? What is the medical term for low blood pressure? It's the hypotension, ano? Hypotension. So, hypotension is low blood pressure. Only dangerous with symptoms of shock. Pale, cold, clammy skin, rapid, weak pulse, sudden drop in blood pressure, thirst, and nausea. What if elevated naman ang blood pressure? What if elevated ang blood pressure? Hypertension. Very good. So, hypertension is sustained elevated blood pressure. It can cause stroke, cerebral vascular accident, CVA. So, high blood pressure can also damage the organs like kidneys, heart, and retina of the eyes. Alright? Ayan. So, it's already 3 o'clock. Let's have a 15-minute break. Mag-coffee break muna tayo. Parang inaantok na yata ang aking mga anak. So, let's have a 15-minute break. So, be back at 3:15. Alright? Okay, so let's proceed dito na sa mga procedures natin, no? Sitz bath or hip bath, as we call, ay bath in which a person sits in water up to the hips. So, ang nakasubmerge lamang ay buttocks, lower back, and the upper thigh in the tub. Hindi yung paa, no? Paa should be out of the tub. So, you should remain or the patient should remain seated 10 to 20 minutes or for the length of time recommended by your doctor. So, temperature should be 38 to 42 degrees Celsius. All right. So, ano ba ang mga purpose ng sitz bath? So, just remember, this is to aid healing or to help healing a wound in the area by cleaning on discharges and slough and sign of inflammation. So, heat, induration, pain, edema, and redness. So, it to induce voiding in urinary retention and to relieve pain, congestion, inflammation in cases of hemorrhoids, anal fissures, rectal surgery, episiotomy, and uterine cramps. And also to induce menstruation. But hot sitz bath is contraindicated in menstruating or pregnant woman. Okay? Now we go to the strain versus sprain. Okay? Now, strain is an injury to a muscle in which the muscle fibers tear as a result of overstretching. While sprain naman is a damage to one or more ligaments in a joint often caused by trauma or the joint being taken beyond its functional range of motion. Okay? So, si strain and sprain, very popular sa BOM, sa MLE. Kapag strain, it involves the muscle. Sprain, it involves ligaments and joints. Okay? So, ano ang ating nursing care for sprains and strains? Ano yung ating mnemonic dyan? Can anyone remember? Rise. Ayun, rise. The rest, ice, compression, and elevation. Okay? All right. So now we go to the pharmacokinetic. Okay? Pharmacokinetic. So we go to the pharmacology, the pharmacokinetics, and the pharmacodynamic. So tatandaan lang, si pharmacokinetic ay movement of drugs in the body sa proseso ng ADME. So yung ADME stands for absorption, distribution, metabolism, excretion. Magkakasunod po yan. Tandaan si ADME. Absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion. While on the other hand, pharmacodynamics is how the drugs work on the body. So this is the study of the effects of drug in the body. Okay, so speaking of medication or drugs, what are the three names that we know? What are the three names of a drug? Three names of the drug. The generic, very good. The brand or the trade name and the chemical, no? So si generic, non-proprietary to, no? Official publication. So trade or brand, ito naman ay proprietary. So selected by the drug company, no? Name of the brand and the name of the drug or brand of the drug. Now, chemical name naman, ito yung popular sa mga chemist. Okay? Ayan. So sa board exam, meron tayong mga common types of drug preparation. So we have elixir. So si elixir, it's a sweetened and aromatic solution. Si extract ay concentrated form of a drug from vegetables or animals. The liniment naman is applied superficially. Okay, used on the skin. Oily liquid ang liniment. While the capsule is a gelatinous container to hold a drug in powder, liquid, or oil form. Yung paste naman is an ointment but it's thicker and stiffer and it penetrates the skin less than an ointment. The pill is mixed with a cohesive material. It comes in oval, round, or flattened shape. Suppositories are one or several drugs mixed with a firm base such as gelatin and shaped for insertion into the body. So we have vaginal suppository and rectal suppository. So syrup naman is an aqueous solution of sugar often used to disguise unpleasant tasting drugs. And tablet is powdered drug compressed into a hard small disc. So ang pinaka-common sa board exam ay si capsule at saka si tablet. Alright, so meron tayong responses to drugs. So meron tayong therapeutic response and non-therapeutic response. So when we say therapeutic response, this is the desired response to a drug. So we have curative. So curative, it cures a disease or condition. Halimbawa, ikaw ay may infection. So you have to take antibiotics. So that's curative. Pag naman sinabing palliative, it relieves the symptoms of a disease but does not affect the disease itself. Halimbawa, for pain lang. So, palliative care lang, no? So, supportive naman, it supports body functions until other treatments of the body or the body's response can take over. So, halimbawa, yung for the low blood pressure. So, substitutive naman replaces body fluids or substances, katulad ng insulin for diabetes. So, other therapeutic response are chemotherapeutic. So, it destroys malignant cells. Ang restorative naman, it returns the body to health. So, halimbawa, may mga deficiencies ka, di ba? If we have deficiencies with vitamins and minerals, anong nangyayari? Nanghihina tayo, may nangyayari sa katawan natin, may mga changes. And then, to restore that, you have to take those vitamins. Okay, so those are the the therapeutic response. Now we go to the non-therapeutic response. So ito naman yung undesired response to a drug. We have side effect. So si side effect, unintended response, pero predictable ito. So response to a drug which can be harmless or which could be injurious. Drug allergy is sensitization. Sensitization exposure to the drug. So altered state of reaction to. Ang tolerance naman ay decreased physiologic response to the repeated administration of the drug, while cumulation is the build-up of a drug when the body cannot biotransform or excrete one dose of the medication before the next dose. Okay? So, ang isa naman ay ang drug dependence. So, pag sinabi nating drug dependence, nagre-rely na, no? Nagre-rely na on or need to take the drug or substance. So, there are two types of drug dependence, the physiologic and the psychologic. So, when we say physiologic, this is the physical disturbance when the drug is withdrawn. And then psychologic, syempre, state of emotional reliance on a drug to maintain a sense of well-being manifested by the mild desire to craving for the drug. So, craving or dependence naman is addiction. Ayan. So, dependence and craving for narcotic or other habit-forming drug, addiction. Iatrogenic naman is the adverse drug effect inflicted unintentionally as a result of treatment. So speaking of those drugs, meron tayong route. Okay, so we have the enteral route and then the parenteral route. So pag enteral route, via mouth, 'di ba? Ano pa? Rectal, 'di ba? Vaginal, 'yan. Enter, no? So ang enteral route, yung drug absorption dito is usually unreliable, unpredictable, and slow. Okay? While the parenteral route, ito, rapid ang absorption. Oo. Okay. Now, parenteral route, sa ulo na natin yan, no? Subcutaneous, intramuscular, intradermal, intravenous. So, pag sinabing subcutaneous, ang diretsyo ng drug ay into the subcutaneous tissue just below the skin. Just below the skin. Kapag intramuscular naman, into a muscle. Intradermal naman ay under the epidermis and into the dermis. Intravenous naman ay into a vein. So for routes of drug administration, we have oral route, no? Meron tayong mga oral mucosa route like buccal and sublingual. So pag-usapan natin 'to. Si oral route, it refers to two methods of administration: applying topically to the mouth or swallowing for absorption along the gastrointestinal tract into systemic circulation. So oral route, kapag oral route, ano ang order sa atin? Pag oral route, anong abbreviation ng medical order? Kapag oral. So this is to be taken oral. Ano makikita natin sa chart pag in-order ni doctor? Anong medical abbreviation? Ano medical abbreviation by mouth? Medication to be taken by mouth. PO, very good, per orem. Okay, per orem. All right, so Latin, from the Latin word or phrase per orem. So this is the abbreviation used to indicate oral route of medication administration. So ang advantages ng oral route, it's convenient. It can be self-administered, it's pain-free, it's easy to take. Sa absorption naman, it takes place along the whole length of the GI tract. It's cheap compared to the most other parenteral route. Ang disadvantage niya lang, sometimes it is inefficient. Okay, because only part of the drug may be absorbed and nagkakaroon ng irritation to gastric mucosa and it can cause nausea and vomiting. Okay? Tapos there are destructions of drugs by the gastric acid and the digestive juice. The effect is too slow for emergencies, unpleasant taste of some drugs, and unable to use in unconscious patient. Now, the sublingual administration naman ay sa ilalim ng dila or tongue, 'di ba? So this is rapidly absorbed by sublingual mucosa. So ito ay economical, it can be quickly terminated and first fast avoided, and then drug absorption is quick. However, no, syempre hindi maganda yung taste niya and pwedeng magkaroon ng irritation of oral mucosa pag paulit-ulit ang administration, and large quantities are not given and few drugs are absorbed. On the buccal mucosa naman, so buccal mucosa is what? Between what? Between the gums and the cheek. Okay, gums and the cheek, buccal, no? Buccal. Now, buccal administration naman is absorbed by the buccal mucosa. Very good, Diana. So, advantages is rapid absorption and drug stability. So, syempre, ang disadvantage niya, inconvenient to dahil it has to stay between your gums and inner lining of the cheek. So, pag ganun, pwedeng magkaroon ng irritation pa rin, di ba? So, if I'm about to have 4 doses of those medication, halimbawa sa left ko nilagay on the first dose, yung second dose sa right mo na ilalagay. And then, yung third dose sa left and then yung fourth dose sa right. So, mag-alternating sila para hindi magkaroon ng buccal mucosa irritation. So, pagdating naman sa rectal route, syempre, via rectum, no, anus. So, ang advantages nito, it can be used in children, little or no first pass effect. So, directly kasi siya papunta siya ng rectum. So, used in vomiting or unconscious patient, higher concentrations rapidly achieved. Ang kanyang disadvantage ay it's very inconvenient, syempre, no? Because ikaw ba naman, papasukan ka ng mga gamot sa iyong rectum. So, syempre, inconvenient and uncomfortable. The absorption is slow and erratic and there could be an irritation or inflammation of rectal mucosa. All right, so let's go now to the types of drugs. So the types of drugs are, ito yung mga commonly na lumalabas sa board exam. So depressant drugs, tatandaan nyo, depressant or tranquilizers, they are to relieve tension, anxiety, and irritability. So ang common example na binibigay palagi no, sa board exam ay si barbiturates. So pag sinabing barbiturates, it's a depressant drug. Okay? So as the alcohol, heroin, inhalants, and sleeping pills. While stimulants naman, they can speed up the central nervous system. Then they can stimulate, no? So help people feel more alert. Ano yung mga example niyan? Tobacco, cocaine, crack, amphetamines, and methamphetamine. While yung hallucinogens naman ay ini-increase yung person's awareness of sight, touch, taste, feeling, and hearing. So it can also alter person's mood. So pwedeng ecstasy, marijuana, cannabis or weed, and then LSD. Okay? So that's it. That's the pharmacology naman. Okay? Ang susunod naman natin ay therapeutic positioning. Okay? So when we say therapeutic positioning, ayan. So si dorsal recumbent or genopectoral position, ito ay where the person or the patient lies on back with legs bent and separated and feet flat. So, ito usually ginagamit yung dorsal recumbent sa Leopold's maneuver, internal examination, pelvic examination, female catheter. Paglalagay ng bedpan. Okay? Baka lang lumabas ulit yung bedpan, dorsal recumbent yung position doon. Now, Fowler position, we have ilang Fowler position ang ang alam natin? Tatlo, di ba? The high Fowler, the semi-Fowler, and the low Fowler. When we say high Fowler, 90 degrees. Kapag sinabi nating semi-Fowler, it's 45 degrees. Kapag naman sinabi nating low Fowler, it's 30 degrees. So Fowler is where the patient is on back, head of the bed raised about 18 inches and knees are elevated. Now, the knee chest position naman, on knees, head and upper chest on table, arms crossed above head. Okay? So during normal spontaneous delivery, the very best ideal position is the upright position or squatting position with the help of, bakit ito ang pinaka-ideal? With the help of gravity. With the help of gravity. Now, ang second ideal naman is dorsal recumbent. So, on dorsal recumbent, slightly abducted ang legs. And then third ideal, yung lithotomy. So, dorsal recumbent and lithotomy, they cannot they cannot promote good descent or fetal descent kasi nakalay on back. Okay, nakalay on back. And usually, prolonged ang labor sa mga ganitong position. Okay? Halimbawa, sa board exam, so usually sila dorsal recumbent, hindi yan. Ang mga nagtatalo lang palagi, si upright position tsaka si lithotomy. Okay? So kapag lumabas si upright position tsaka si lithotomy and on the same number, pinakauna yung pipiliin si upright position po. Okay? Pinakauna yung pipiliin ay si upright position. Okay? Sitting upright, squatting upright, yun po, pinaka the best. Okay? Pero kapag may lumabas dito na most comfortable position by the patient, ito po ang ating ilalagay. No? Ito daw na pinaka best answer. Okay, yan yung most comfortable position by the patient. Pero dito masyadong lumalabas. Never ko pa po itong na-encounter. Puro upright position tsaka lithotomy lang. Okay. Now, left lateral recumbent position naman po. Okay, left lateral recumbent position naman po ay on left side, right leg drawn up. Lithotomy position is on back, legs flex on abdomen, thighs apart, and then, nasa ng paa? Nasa stirrups. No, so this is recommended during IUD, ayan, during um, ano to, yung sa cervical inspection, yan. So, prone naman is lying face down. Okay? 'Di ba yung parang hipon? Prone position. Now, next is the sim position. It's on left side. Right leg drawn up, high and forward. Left arm along back and chest forward, resting on bed, supine lying face up, and then Trendelenburg position on back with head lowered by tilting bed back at 45-degree angle. Yung double up naman is the right position for patients suffering from severe abdominal pain. So si double up, lumalabas yan kay board exam. Pag nakita nyo severe abdominal pain, double up is the best position. Now, sitting position naman, dito yung pagkukuha ng vital signs, 'di ba? Sitting position. Or if you are examining the chest, or to be assumed by the patient in undergoing nasal examination. Now, modified Trendelenburg position is the appropriate to assume for patients in shock. Tatandaan po yan ha. Ayan. So that's the therapeutic positioning po natin. Now we go to the hot and cold therapy. Now, hot and cold therapy, very popular din sa MLE natin sa Funda. So, ang tatandaan lang daw natin dyan, yung mga considerations natin tsaka contraindication. So, sa cold application, this controls bleeding by constricting blood vessels. So this produce an anesthetic effect, relieve pain, reduce body temperature, limit the accumulation of fluid in body tissues, reduce edema by constricting vessels and retain the heat. So si hot application naman, okay, hot application promote circulation to an injury, thereby promoting healing, relief of pain or aching, particularly in muscles and joint by promoting muscle relaxation, helps overcome feeling of chillness, raises the body temperature. So during hot application, the vessels dilates and it releases heat. Okay? Now, anong contraindication? For heat application or hot application, ang contraindication dito, the first 24 hours after traumatic injury, active hemorrhage, non-inflammatory edema, localized malignant tumor, and skin disorder that cause redness or blisters. Okay. Now, sa colds naman, hindi siya pwede sa mga open wounds, impaired circulation, allergy, or hypersensitivity to cold. So, the cold helps minimize inflammation, heat relax muscle joints, and blood vessels. Now, cold is usually best for a fresh injury like bruise or sprain. Okay, yung kaka-injured lang. For the first 48 hours kasi mas best yung cold. Okay, and then alternatively, bibigyan ng hot compress. Ganon. So, applying ice or cold pack immediately reduces swelling by causing blood vessels to constrict. Now, cold should only be used for the first 48 hours or so after an injury. Cold packs are applied for the first 20 to 48 hours after an injury, and then, yun nga, heat is applied. So, sa massage naman, ito yung mga pinaka-common. So, effleurage means long, soothing, stroking movements. So, by the use of your flat hands or fingers. So, si Petrisage naman, kneading, rolling, and picking up the skin. While the tapotement naman ay cupping, hacking, and pounding. Okay? By experience, yan yung mga tatandaan nyo sa massage. Okay? Tapos, meron pang isa, hindi ka pwedeng mag-gloves kapag nagmamassage. Hindi ka pwedeng mag-massage ng mga tao na may edema. May pamamaga. Hindi mo pwede yung i-massage, okay? Yun yung mga tatandaan nyo sa massage. So, punta naman tayo sa enemas. Ito yung mga types of enemas na very popular sa ating licensure exam. So, carminative enema, this is to expel flatus. While retention enema naman, you have to introduce oil or medication into the rectum para mag-promote ng passage ng fecal matters or feces. dumi. Now, cleansing enema, this is primarily given or done no before surgery para hindi magkaroon ng escape of feces para mas malinis. Pero during natural spontaneous delivery, hindi na po tayo nag-e-enema. Okay? Hindi na po to routinely done. Ayan. So that's it. Now we go to the common sleep disorders. So we have bruxism. So bruxism is grinding or clenching of the teeth while sleeping. Insomnia disorder naman is chronic difficulty in falling asleep. Narcolepsy is excessive daytime sleepiness. And cataplexy is sudden weakness in the motor muscle that can result in collapsing to the floor. The night terror ay abrupt or sudden awakening from sleep with behavior consistent with terror. Now, nocturia, so uria means urine, di ba? Kapag sinabi nating nocturia, this is frequent need to get up to urinate at night, 'di ba? Ang enuresis naman is bedwetting. Okay? Wherein tulog pa yung pasyente pero nagre-relieve na siya ng bladder niya. Nag-e-empty na ng bladder niya. And then sleep apnea, very popular sa MLE. Sleep apnea is obstruction of the airway during sleep causing lack of sufficient deep sleep, often accompanied by snoring. So it stops of breathing at least 10 seconds, 30 times with 7 hours of sleep classifies as apnea. So we have sleepwalking or somnambulism. So ito yung nag-e-engage ka sa mga typical activities when you're awake dapat, pero you're sleeping. Kunyari, eating, dressing, getting the keys, opening the door, walking, yan. Then, now, somniphobia is yung takot mag-fall asleep or going to bed. Now, sleep talking is somniloquy, and then sleep sex is sexomnia. Okay, so that's it. Yun yung mga commonly na lumalabas. Sleep disorders, ganyan, no? So, punta naman tayo dito sa ating asepsis technique, no? So, when we talk about single most effective and cheapest way to prevent cross-contamination, what procedure is that? What procedure is that? Hand washing. Hand washing. Okay, very good. So, hand washing. So, there are three elements of hand washing. Tatandaan nyo po sa hand washing yung kanyang meaning. Yung element, yung timing. So, yung elements ay yung water, soap, and friction. Ang pinaka-importanting element ay yung friction. Okay? The most important aspect is the friction. So, the rest of the component ay para ma-enhance lang yung friction, katulad ng soap. The soap lowers the surface tension, thereby increasing the effectiveness of friction. The water naman helps remove transient bacteria by working with soap to create lather than reduces the surface tension. So done at least 20 seconds or at least singing two happy birthdays po. Okay? So each hand requires ilang seconds each hand. 15 to 30 seconds of hand washing as minimum to effectively remove transient germs. Now, the minimum time required for washing each hands is 10 seconds. Minimum po ha. And should not be lower than that. The recommended time again is 15 to 30 seconds each hand. Okay? Okay po. Ayan. So, ilang happy birthday? Dalawang happy birthday. So, we have the techniques po for asepsis technique. So, when we say sterile technique, keeping the hands above the waist, ano po ito? Is it surgical or medical? Very good, surgical. When we say clean technique naman, it's medical. Tama? Okay, tatandaan lang yun ha. Okay, lipat natin yung slide. So, tandaan lang po natin to. Surgical, sterile. Okay, pag medical naman, clean. Alright? So, pag naman medical, hands are put below the elbow. O, pag sinabi kong catheterization, surgical or medical? Catheterization. Surgical, medical. Surgical, very good. Um, putting nasogastric tube. Putting nasogastric tube. Surgical, medical. Medical, very good. Administering BCG. Administering BCG. Medical or clean technique, very good. Performing oral hygiene. Performing oral hygiene. Medical. Internal examination. Internal examination. Internal examination. Internal examination, surgical po. Sterile dapat tayo dyan. Sterile, ano? Okay. So I have a student, sabi niya, dito rin yata yun, or the other students. Nakalimutan ko na eh. Dami. So, pag daw mga invasive techniques daw ay surgical. So, mga anak hindi. Kasi, di ba, I mentioned administrative, no? Administrating BCG. Ito'y invasive procedure kasi tutusukin mo yung pasyente eh. 'Di ba? Tutusukin mo yung pasyente. So, hindi naman kailangan ng surgical technique doon. Okay? So, do not put in your mind na lahat ng invasive procedure should be surgical. 'Di ba? Like putting nasogastric tube. 'Di ba? Like administering nasogastric tube, 'di ba? Hindi natin dapat gawing surgical technique. Diba? Enema. Enema. Surgical or medical? Enema. Surgical or medical? Cleansing enema. Medical. Medical technique po tayo dun. Okay? Ayan. Diba? Invasive procedure yon. Ayan. So, ganun lang po yon. Okay? So, tatandaan lang yon. Ano yung sabi ni Diana? Nag-massage, naglagay ng ano? Diba? Ang dami ng chat. Di ko na nabasa. Sorry po. Ayan. So, punta na tayo sa mga skin lesions. So, we have secondary skin lesions. These are popularly asked din po. So, scale is like a dry or greasy in texture. This is caused by fungal infections. Yung crust naman or scab is serum pus or blood which has dried and pulled into the skin. Keloids naman is exaggerated formation of scar tissue or swollen scar tissue. Lesions is thickening of the skin. Erosion is small areas of the skin in which the upper skin layer is lost. Fissure, a narrow, deep crack on the skin extending to the flesh caused due to excessive drying of the skin. Atrophy naman is decreased in cell size. Now, ulcers, discontinuous loss of the skin, sometimes reaching the fat layer. And also, yung scars, discolored tissue naman, permanently replaces the skin in that area. Now, speaking of ulcers, we have pressure ulcers. Now, pressure ulcers are commonly asked sa ating board exam. So, pag sinabing pressure ulcer, ang pinaka-kino-consider natin, no, as a registered midwife ay ang positioning. So, to prevent pressure ulcer, ilang oras tayo magre-reposition? Ayan. 2 hours. Every 2 hours. Very good. Okay, very good po kayo. Now, we go now to the basic types of wound. Okay, basic type of wounds. So, una nating i-discuss yung incision. So, incision is wherein the skin is cut by a sharp object. So, usually like a knife or a razor with smooth and defined edges. Okay? So, yung wound na ito may be deep or shallow. But it usually heal quickly because of a very skin and clean cut. No? Ayan. So, incision wound is cut in the skin caused by a sharp object katulad ng knife, broken glass, scissors, surgeon's scalpel. So, they are neat and the edges of the skin are usually smooth. Okay? So, parang ito. This is the question na lumabas sa board exam po talaga. Okay? So, sharp objects like knives and razor blades. So, laceration, puncture, incision, abrasion. This is the actual board exam question and the actual choices po na lumabas. No? April 2024 yan lumabas. laceration, puncture, incision, abrasion. Very good. Incision po ha. Because we have the razor blades, oh, the knife and the razor blades. No? So it has smooth and defined edges. Okay? Smooth and defined edges. Now, laceration naman, jagged edge. Jagged edge. Kapag nakakita kayo sa board exam, jagged edge, laceration yon. So, it is an unintentional cut po yun. Okay? Torn po yun pala rather than cut. So, it's an unintentional tear. So, a lacerated wound will take longer than an incised to heal and leave a scar. So, this is torn open. This can be shallow. This can be deep. Okay, shallow, pwedeng na-injured lang yung surface of the skin. Pwede namang deep, causing injury to the muscle, tendons, ligaments, blood vessels, and nerves. Now, laceration are mostly common made by some sort of blunt trauma. Diba? Kunyari, inano ka ng baseball bat. Ngayon, tayo namang registered midwife, pinaka-popular sa atin yung perineal laceration. Very good, Miss Ramirez. Ayan. Now, next is the abrasion. Now, abrasion is gas-gas. Gas-gas. Ang pinaka-common na situation sa board exam sa abrasion, yung nakasakay daw sa motorsiklo, tas na aksidente, tapos nagasgasan. Yon, okay? So, this affects only the outer layer of the skin, while deeper abrasions can leave scars. Okay, so ito ay yung skin mo comes in contact with rough surface leading to skin being ground away. So usually very shallow lang to pero large area yung ino-occupy. Okay? So the next is contusion. So contusion is also known as bruising. So this appears undamaged yung outer skin nila, but there may be damage to underlying structures. So, it causes localized swelling, and this may be cause of blunt force trauma resulting in tissue damage. And the effects are blood vessels are under the skin break, and then leading to blood pooling and bruising. So, pasa. So, this is a type of closed wound, meaning the skin is not broken. So, the next one is puncture naman. So, puncture naman, natusok, ganyan, created by sharp pointed object katulad ng nails, animal bites. So these are small but deep wound. Okay, high risk of infection lalong-lalo na including tetanus. So bleeding is minimal but a wound may close over quickly. The treatment is, of course, there are some medical intervention because gawa nga, 'di ba? Ano ba siya? Malapit siya sa infection. All right. So that's the basic type of wounds that are very popular na tinatanong sa ating board exam. Now, next is the burns. First degree burns, second degree burns, and third degree burns. Okay? So sa first degree burns, epidermis only lang ang naaapektuhan. Ang signs and symptoms, pain, redness, and swelling. Okay? Ma'am, yung avulsion po ba animal bite? Kasi yung sa animal bite, ma'am, kung makikita mo doon yung, pull out natin yon ha. Kung makikita mo yung question, nilaplap, may nakalagay po dong characteristic. Mga anak, titingnan nyo po ang question. Hindi po nakakita lang kayo ng animal bite. Ma'am, bakit ganun? Animal bite, paano naging puncture? Paano naging avulsion yun sa tanong? Teka lang, pull out ko lang yun dito ha. Ayan, na-anticipate ko na yan na may magtatanong. Pull out ko lang yung question natin dito, ha? Ay, hindi pala ito yun. Nasaan yung exam na yun? Ayun. Ay, hindi, mga anak. Oo, tama yun, Marky. Kapag animal bite, makikita mo naman pero dito kasi sa question natin, wag niyong i-confuse. O, teka lang ha. Tingnan nyo naman, nakalagay dito mga nakshi. Huwag kayong basta nakalagay lang animal bite, avulsion na kasi nakalagay dun sa coaching namin. Hindi. Kailangan mag-aano tayo. Critical thinking, mga nakshi, di ba? Critical thinking, teka, balik tayo dito, ha. Critical thinking, reading comprehension. Teka lang na. Oh, ayan. The type of wound which is due to explosion, mga anak. Nakalagay animal bite. Nilaplap yan panigurado. Mishandling of tools. Kapag mishandling of tools, kunyari, baker ka. Baker ka tapos pumasok yung kamay mo doon. That's avulsion. Kunyari, meron kang power tool. Karpintero ka, may power tool ka. Nagre-renovate ka ng bahay mo. Yung jackhammer, biglang ikaw yung ginakhammer. 'Di ba? Mga anak, laging titingnan ninyo. Huwag niyong titingnan na, ay, animal bite, avulsion. Mga anak, titingnan ninyo yung mga kakambal nila sa question, yung mga kasama. Hindi pwedeng kapag nagre-review ka, yung binigay lang alam nyo, alam nyo si Sir Jonas noon, 'di ba? Sabi ko sa inyo, ako ay byproduct ni Sir Jonas. Naiirita yan kapag yung hindi ka nagbabasang maigi. Yung hindi nyo kinagamit ang inyong common sense. Napapagalitan na ba kayo ni Sir Jonas? O hindi pa? Ganon siya. Ganon, no? Kahit ako, hindi naman ako nang naiirita. Pero gusto ko lang i-emphasize sa inyo na gagamitin ang common sense sa pagbabasa at pag-iintindi. So, katulad dito sa ating final coaching, sa ating, sa ating exam, no? Ayan na yan. May nakalagay, explosion, animal bite, or mishandling of tools. So, imposible na puncture to. Imposible na puncture to. Kasi explosion, nasa bugang ka. 'Di ba? Ano sabi ko sa inyo, usually yung firecracker. Tuwing bagong taon, nasa bugan. Yun isipin nyo sa abulsion. Lap-lap. Okay? Wala siyang pattern ng pagkakasugat, hindi linya, hindi pointy. Yan. Ngayon naman, eto tanong ko. Animal bite alone, kinagat ka ng aso. Kinagat ka ng aso, may nakitang ang sugat, in-inspect ka. Kinagat ka ng aso, ang inspect sa'yo ng doktora, meron kang 2 dot. Lumabas sa board exam yan. Kinagat ng aso, may dot. O, tinan mo, sa NLE, lumalabas yung mga types of wound. Puncture, di ba? Ganun. Nakagat ka ng pusa. Puncture, di ba? Ganun. O, ano yung wound caused by administration tetanus toxoid. Anong wound yon? Anong wound yon? Binigyan ko ng tetanus toxoid. O, syempre may wound. Puncture. 'Di ba? Tinusok ko. O, now, do we understand the difference of avulsion and puncture? Yun. Thank you po. Okay. Good job, everyone. Ayan. So, pupunta na tayo sa first degree. Okay? So, during comprehensive review natin kung na yung mga nakapackage kay sir na matagal nang nandito, no? Diniscuss natin yung mga burns, 'di ba? Marami tayong diniscuss about it. Pero this time, ito, in ano na lang natin. Very specific na, no? So, ang tatandaan natin, affected area, sintomas, no? At yung mga causation, and then treatment. Okay? Yung first degree burn ay outer layer of the skin lang. So, epidermis only. So, there's pain, redness, and swelling. So, ang cause could be hot water, sunburn, napaso. But ang pinakamahalaga sa mga burns pagdating sa board exam ay yung mga sintomas at saka yung affected area at saka yung ibang tawag. Okay? So, meron tayong ibang tawag sa second and the third degree. No? So, lipit tayo sa second degree. Kapag sinabi nating second degree burn, this is also known as partial thickness burn. Ang affected area, outer layer of the skin and the underlying layers of the skin. So epidermis and dermis. So symptoms are most painful, redness, swelling, and blistering. Now, ang causes nito could be flames, chemical, or hot liquids. No? And then, tatandaan po most painful, second degree burn. Tapos, may blister. Si second degree burn yun. Si blister, hindi mo pwedeng i-rupture. Hindi mo pwedeng i-rupture si blister, hayaan mo lang siya. Kapag nag-rupture, treat as an open wound. Anong gagawin? Lilinisin and i-cover ng sterile gauze. Alright, pero loosen lang. Okay? Ayan. So next is the third degree burn. So third degree burn is also known as the full thickness burn. Okay, ano ang mga affected area? A deep layer of the skin, subcutaneous and muscles. So usually sa board exam, ang mga na-experience ng mga examinees namin about third degree burn ay yung charred. So pag sinabing charred, it's color black. So sometimes sasabihin grayish, ganyan. So yun pa rin yun, third degree burn pa rin po yun, no? Yun yung kanyang symptoms. And then, usually at first occurrence of the burn, painless siya dahil sa nerve damage. And so, kapag nagpapagaling naman ang third degree burn, masakit. Okay, medyo masakit kapag nasa recovery na siya. All right? So that's it for today. I'm just hanggang ano lang tayo, 4 o'clock.